This video is brought to you by my spare time. Buona giornata, good viewers, and welcome to the first character entry video released during the Switch 2 era. Can you believe it? The world has changed so much that it's hardly even recognizable anymore. That's what happens whenever Nintendo releases a new console. Everything gets flipped upside down, cars get set on fire, doors get looted, and aliens arrive on Earth. But alas, even though everything's different now, the show must go on. So today, I'm happy to be sitting on my chair, recording this video 3 days ahead of its release, to talk about the lovely Princess Toadstool, or more casually known as Peach. Princess Peach is the ruler of the Mushroom Kingdom, who made her debut back in the original Super Mario Bros. Game, released in 1985. Her hobbies include sports, baking, gardening, and getting kidnapped every other Tuesday. While she's often portrayed as a damsel in distress, Peach has had plenty of moments to shine, most notably in the recently released Princess Peach Showtime. However, that title, along with Super Princess Peach, wouldn't factor into Super Smash Bros. ES, as my timeline for this hypothetical game predates the year 2006. However, one game that would play a role when it comes to developing Peach's moveset is Super Mario Bros. 2, where Peach was portrayed as a playable character. This game, I believe, is what laid the blueprints for her portrayal in Super Smash Bros. Melee. My design of Peach is a combination of how she is portrayed throughout the more classic games, as well as her later, or more specifically, future appearances, particularly the one in Super Smash Bros. Brawl. For the most part, it's an original design, which I hope that you like. I wanted to dedicate extra effort to designing this character in particular. Princess Peach is the third Mario series rep, as well as the second female character in my concept, which I am happy for, because honestly, my roster was starting to look like a boys club, and it was kinda starting to bother me. Let's talk about technicalities. Peach's model sits at exactly 624 tries, and boy was it tough to keep her try count this low. I was even afraid that I wasn't going to be able to pull it off without some kind of major sacrifice, and the thought of not having Peach in the roster entirely even crossed my mind. But I also knew that resorting to that would lead to the fans burying me alive. And the fact is, I love this character just as much as everyone else. Honestly, if it came down to breaking my rule of adhering to a 625 try limit to include her, I would have probably done it. Luckily, it didn't come down to that. So how did I pull it off, you are probably asking, because I know that you care about this just as much as I do? Well, basically Peach's legs are a separate mesh, and whenever that mesh is out of view, or covered up by her dress, it would get hidden, allowing room for extra items like her frying pan, golf club, and tennis racket. I only modeled the frying pan for this video, but she'd still use the other tools as part of her moveset. She also has her parasol, which acts as her up special. Her parasol was first utilized in Super Mario RPG, and later adapted into other games. It's crazy to think that a game developed by Square Enix managed to make a mark in Super Smash Bros. Melee, considering that there aren't really any Square-related assets found throughout the subsequent games, primarily due to rights issues. Particularly, there's the omission of Geno from Super Smash Bros. Brawl, who I recall was a highly demanded character at the time, and even now, the design for the parasol is also completely original. There's also her use of turnips, which originate from Super Mario Bros. 2. Beside the fact that the model doesn't look too smooth, finding a way to squeeze it in wasn't really a huge issue, and on a system that runs potatoes, I doubt that most people would care. Unlike the other games, her down special would not have any chances of picking out a bomb, once again because of the try limit. One special move that I had to change entirely was her standard special, which in Melee and subsequent future games included her using Toad as a body shield. Instead, I replaced it with a totally new and original move with a similar function. I call it the Heart Block. Heart Block is a move that temporarily allocates Peach's attack stat towards her defense stat. I think that this is quite fitting given Peach's passive-natured personality. The defense buff wouldn't be its only function though. If used timingly with an opponent's attack, it can reflect the damage done onto them, acting as a kind of counter, in the same way that Toad does in the other games. Even though Toad wouldn't appear as part of her moveset, I still plan to include him in the concept in some capacity, at least as a trophy. And that is all I have to say about Peach today. Over the last 2 weeks, I've been welcomed with over 2,000 new subscribers to the channel in response to the skits that I've been posting, which I plan to do a lot more of. The Yoshi one in particular is quickly nearing 100,000 views, which has been incredibly motivating for me in my YouTube journey. So to everyone, both new and old, thank you all so much for being here. I promise to keep delivering a lot more good things. So as usual, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell to keep up to date with everything that I do. And with that said, I'll see you all in the next one. Adieu.